good afternoon, and good afternoon to the listeners of all, is it 3? Yeah. We had a very long day. I think my day started early this morning at 4 o'clock, just to wake up, prepare for council, came to council, and as you saw, we had to try and protect councillors from what happened in the last council meeting on the 13th of January. We started the meeting in itself and obviously wanted to start promptly this morning to elect the chairpersons and obviously the chair of chairs. That didn't happen because there was a lot of interruptions during the day, still questioning the decision that was taken on whether it should be a secret ballot or a show of hands. This council has elected numerous chairpersons throughout the years through a show of hands. It happened in 2019 after the DA was taken out of government in the city of Johannesburg. In other words, the ANC did elect, and the coalition that existed then did elect those councillors and obviously those chairpersons through the same process without change. The Municipal Structures Act had one change in it, which basically speaks about the election of the Speaker, which happened in our first meeting, the election of the Mayor, and the election of the Whip. It doesn't talk of a Chief Whip, it talks of a Whip, which is quite clear. In other words, if the Structures Act wanted to have the chair of chairs and chairpersons elected through a ballot, the same as what happened with the mayor and myself as the speaker in the city of Johannesburg, it would have said so. It doesn't say that. It leaves the discussion to council. And obviously council does have its own rules, and those rules specify how we should vote in council. And that's the system that we have been using here. Why the insistence on that and the constant delays throughout the day? I'm sure that you as the media witness it to the day. When the one political party comes back, the other one then asks for a caucus break. On what? I couldn't understand. Until I later understood that between the ANC and the EFF and the coalitions, the smaller political parties, led by Councilor Margaret Arnolds as the chairperson, did not have the numbers. And that's the reason why they tried to delay this. But also, I think you all heard the rumor, and obviously I was alerted by the media. I didn't know that there was some kind of negotiations with the IFP to try and get the IFP to withdraw from this council meeting, which didn't happen. And as you all saw, they sat in the council meeting. The chair of chairs was elected officially and was announced so. Then what happened was that the EFF then withdrew its nomination. The ANC withdrew its nomination, and Councillor Arnolds withdrew her nomination. The political parties that she is chairing withdrew them by name, which actually meant that the standing coalition in the city of Johannesburg, those people that have been nominated by those, by that coalition, in fact, are the only ones that has got valid nomination forms left. In other words, for the 17 committees, we are going to go to the next council meeting, because when that was supposed to be announced to the public and obviously to council itself, the ANC walked out, followed by the minority parties, led by Councillor Arnolds, and as you saw, the EFF and Councilor Ahmad with Al-Jama also left, which left us with 131 councillors, which basically meant that we could not continue by announcing those that were nominated officially. So on the 27th, we will have this particular item on the agenda to approve those nominations, because it's the only ones that we've received officially.
Speaker, speaking to some of the political parties here today, they have also said that they've sought legal opinion when it comes to the Municipal Structures Act, when it comes to having a secret ballot in the House. And they say that that secret ballot, according to their legal opinion, is indeed possible. What is your legal opinion saying about that?
Well, I think I've spelled out the legal opinion. I've basically spelled out the Structures Act and what it says, and what it does not say about the election of chairpersons. And our rules is clear, that we vote on each item either by a show of hands or by a yes or a no. That's the legal opinion. There is no different one. The EFF wrote, I responded back to them, telling them exactly what I'm saying, obviously in more detail. They've got the response. I've also responded to the MEC based on the collapse of council and why the previous council collapsed. So they've got that communication, and I'm not at liberty to actually discuss the letter that was written back to the MEC unless he himself wants to make it public.
Mr. Da Gama, sorry, Natasha Perry here from SABC News. I just want to know, I mean, judging by what we saw last week Thursday and what we saw today, I mean, does this then set the precedent of how council meetings will actually sit throughout the whole year? Because, I mean, my only worry is the residents of Johannesburg. They're the ones that actually are suffering at the end of the day.
Well, I hope that it's not setting a precedent. I think Councillor Sauls was absolutely right when he said that this is about self-service. That those that actually walked out of council today was more concerned about serving themselves rather than serving the residents. We've been elected last year, and you all know the date. As political parties, those that got votes are sitting here in council today, or were sitting here in council today, and the residents out there have got expectations, and those expectations are based on us delivering services to them, because they are paying rates and taxes and in fact paying our salaries. So we've got to be accountable to them. And I really urge on councillors to be more responsible. Think about the image that we are giving out there. There's investors that want to invest in the city. And if this is how we're going to continue with future meetings, it really is not going to serve anybody.
Speaker, it's Govan Whittles from ENCA. The councillors in the ANC and the EFF and some, and especially the minority opposition bloc, say that you are the reason why this council keeps collapsing, and they don't appreciate how you've adjudicated over this meeting, and they're laying the blame for the debates, the nature of the debates, the disruptions at your door. What's your response?
My response is quite simple. That they had a political aim at it. They looked for a scapegoat, and the easiest scapegoat is obviously the Speaker. I stick to the law and have spelled the law out. I've even written to the EFF giving them an official response. What else must I do? When you saw, when a group of councillors stand up, starts toy-toying, starts intimidating, like they did in the previous meeting, intimidating fellow councillors, elbowing them, pushing them around. You saw my door, where my office is, that door was nearly broken. Some councillors were crushed against the door itself. In other words, displaying open violence in the public without really thinking. I mean, it's adults we're talking about here. It's not children. It's adults that are supposed to take responsibility. If their political parties have got constitutions, obviously those leaders must take action against them for behaving the way that they have behaved here. How are we going to ensure that our children become future leaders when this is the example that we set?
Speaker, you've now come back and adjudicated over this meeting, and you've only managed to achieve a little bit more than the last meeting by electing the chair of chairs, Collen Makhubele. How much are you paying every time, or how much are you spending for each of these sittings?
It's quite a lot of money. I don't have the figures here with me, but I'd make it available at some point in the future.
Do you consider today to be a wasted day?
Well, yes. I mean, I've wasted my time here the whole day, although the one chairperson was elected. I really believe that we should be spending our time, actually working for the residents of the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's the Speaker.
Of course, that is the Speaker, Kathy, of the Johannesburg Council here, just giving us an update in terms of what happened earlier on today. Now, you would know that we have Collen Makhubele. Now, that is the only voting process that got underway, and that is for the chair of chairs. She's the only person who has been voted in here today. And, of course, outstanding is still the issue around the chairpersons of those Section 79 committees, which still need to be elected. And of course, we know that this House did not form a quorum after some members of Al Jamaa left, because we had at least 136 council members who were present here after a break. And all in all, the city of Johannesburg has 270 members. And for this House to form a quorum, you would need 136. But hearing there from Vasco Da Gama, the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg Council, saying that they only had 131 council members here. And of course, now this meeting has been adjourned until the 27th of January.
All right, Mbalita Tani, let's leave it there for tonight.